Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, we dive deep into the dev stream and the announcements all around Galactic Command and some of the gear changes that are coming that we heard this week. But first, some game and AIE Guild news. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 165. Hey, 165. So a proton walks into a cantina, right? And the bartender says, "Hey, we don't serve neutrons here." And the proton says, "But I'm not a neutron." And the bartender says, "Are you sure?" He says, "Yeah, I'm positive." With me, as always, is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
I love science humor.
I've got a
Positively.
whole bunch of those. I may be doing those for a couple weeks. And as I told you earlier, I tell jokes because I find them funny. No one else may find them
Has to,
funny, but I
right.
find
It's
them
not
hilarious.
required. Not required.
Yes.
Well, things are going pretty well. We started to have a little cold weather here, and then it went schizo and got warm again. But fall is here. The trees are changing colors. It's very gorgeous, and we're all very happy. Star Wars news. I got my Sage to 65, which is actually my third DVL character to level, but I ended up with 365s because I detoured a little bit to get that Merc to 65 so we could do hard modes, and she could wear my mains gear. But I really enjoyed leveling my Sage because it was just like Force Quake all the time, and I did a bunch of SOS, so I had the combat droid with me, and I was just, yeah, it was fun. But I've started my next DVL character to level, and now these are the ones that are only going to go to 50. So this one I'm doing right now is a trooper who's a commando, DPS commando. And then after that I'll have the 4 left to go to 50, which will be Night Agent, Inquisitor, and Smuggler, which I feel confident that I'll have plenty of time to do those. Ops this week, we did on our regular ops team, I think we did the priority hard mode, which I think was Karaga's Palace. And then in Soldiers of Light, we did Karaga's Palace for Pants. And tonight on MFM, we actually did some ops tonight at MFM. We went and killed Draxus, and then we went and killed Sparky, and then we went and killed Titan 5, all for DVL, which was actually, very fun. I enjoyed it tonight, as I always do on MFM, but it was fun to have everyone together in one group, which we haven't been the last few weeks because we've been doing sort of more separated DVL stuff. But anyway, that was fun. And yeah, how has your week been, Max?
My week has been pretty good also. No hard mode flashpoints this week, which that felt a little painful.
Yeah, I had a little real life thing going on Saturday that might have involved some alcohol. And by the time, I got home and everything, it was just not going to happen.
The chat room is asking if you said Titan 5 that we did. Did you say
Did I
Titan
say
5?
Titan 5?
Titan 5, Titan 6, whatever it takes. So yeah, I liked killing Titan 5, maybe Titan 7. But I did do some DVL work this week. In fact, in 3 days, I took 2 characters from 10 to 50 that I had languishing, and they were I did an operative and a smuggler, and so I did them both as the melee DPS specs. So I've had a sniper and a gunslinger before. I not my favorite, but I did them because I didn't have that advanced class sitting around. I hadn't done that side before, so I could make them healers eventually also. The melee, well, mostly when I'm trying to run really fast through flashpoints, melee DPS wasn't all that great, and my little droid robot models for DVL don't look that great when they're punching people in the face, which you do a lot in the smuggler spec. But the stabbing of the operative was not bad. Ranged is just so much easier when you're trying to go really fast and you've got like droids hanging out in the corners and that kind of thing. One thing I had great success on, especially on the Republic side, I was looking for ways to go faster and faster. Essilus on the Republic side is a little bit slower for me than Black Talon, and seems to be a little bit less experience overall. And there's a lot of cutscenes. You have to pay space for the cutscenes, even in Black Talon, quite a bit. Terrell 5 was awesome. Terrell 5, even in, I think I went from like 39 to 45, and I think I did Terrell 5 twice between 39 and 50. Terrell 5 is just
Wow.
filled with elites, with the big gold creatures, the swamp creatures, and killing each one of those was getting me between like 8 and 10k experience each. So
That's a good tip, Carol 5.
I was having great success doing that and I had a boost on, I had all the XP gear, and I had the guild bonus and the double XP. So a stack of 4 various bonuses going on. So yeah, it was awesome.
I don't have all the XP gear because I keep putting off the PvP that's in the Eternal
Oh
level.
yeah, you should do that. It does
I
speed
should,
things
I
up.
know.
Just hop in there. It goes quick. Plus, you should have been doing it with all of your low level characters, at least one, to get that big huge XP boost. So you should have at least
Yeah.
8 of the 15 done. So
Yeah. Well, wait. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I should. I very much should.
you very much
I will.
should. And in other news, we have had some news.
Now an Imperial News Network report.
What's the good news, Seema?
Good news. Okay, so this week we had a dev stream, a live stream on Monday, no less. We're going to talk about that in more detail later. But yeah, it was convenient for us for them to do it on Monday.
Yeah. So that's going to be our big segment for this week. Big, huge dev stream on Monday, and then a bunch of posts that clarified a couple things on it, and posts on the gear changes that are coming also that we'll touch on as part of that. We did also get news that they're going to be doing another dev stream this week still. So 4 days later, so on Thursday, you may be past it already. But they're going to talk about the rest of Galactic Command. So they introduced Galactic Command and talked through most of it. They're going to, in theory, talk about the rest of Galactic Command and how the new dark versus light that's built into Galactic Command is going to work. So that's interesting.
Also, they said in the stream that DVL will end on, well, they said it was November 29th, but we're saying you better be finished by the end of November 28th, because when the clock ticks over to November 29, or when the servers come back up from a reset or whatever, however it's going to work on that day, then it's going to be early access to Knights of the Eternal Throne, and I'm pretty sure DVL will be done. So finish it on the 28th. I'll probably be doing like 15 war zones on the 28th.
Yeah, exactly.
The decision on which companion we get, though, light side or dark side, will be finalized about a week before that, like on the 15th. And currently the light is still ahead of the dark.
Yeah, they still haven't updated those percentages on their light versus dark meter on the official website. I bet it continues to be the light side, going slightly higher by, tenths of a percentage. But, they don't need to update it. It's not going to change. It's going to be our Blue Chiss Jedi pal is going to be our new companion, which I'm looking forward to. In guild and community news, we do have our ops team still running. I think our Soldiers of Light team could use a healer still. Our Wednesday team is going strong. Did you have comments on Soldiers of Light? Because you are on that team on Monday on the Republic side.
I was going to say healer, yes, but I mean, we could also use a DPS, providing our temporary healer, Spicoli.
Oh, which
would
keep forcing
want
him
to
to be
heal all the time. He may not want to. So if you're a healer at heart, come and join us on Monday nights on the pub side. Or if you're not a healer at heart but you're DPS, it's worth checking out.
Seema can just one heal all the hard modes and nightmare modes progression. She can do it. That's not a problem.
No problem.
And then also in guild news, we've got a guy in the guild named Thon who does these really, really good costumes, really good outfits in the outfit designer. So he keeps coming up with themes Thon Solo, Thon, and I don't know. He keeps naming them various things that have a pun on Thon. But his Iron Man, this isn't that great a screenshot of it. I should have done some back and sides. His Iron Man costume was really good. It's even got like the arc reactor. It's colored really well. I got to get some better screenshots of it because it is a pro looking outfit. I got to get some of his other ones too. His Borg, that's the other one he did. The Borg looks really good. Anyway, there's Thon. What else in guild news, Seema? How would we get people to join the guild if they wanted to come join? Which we
Or
want them
just
to.
come to Jedi Covenant and join a channel called AIE Alpha and say hi, and we'll invite you to the guild. If you do want to know more about us first, you can always read on our website at aie-guild.org. And as always, the best time to find us online is in the evenings.
Absolutely. We had some new people joining even this week. We continually have new people joining, and I love it when brand new people are coming to join, or people that played way back in the beginning and then come back in. We had in our guild fun night again tonight, we had a couple people that had not done a couple of the ops that we were in. So we were in Dread Fortress for the DVL boss Draxus, and we were in Ravagers for Sparky, and we had some people that had not done those. Oh, and Titan 6. We did all three of those. And
You mean Titan 5, right?
Titan 5, yeah, sorry. We only do Titan 5. It's a secret, and we're just that awesome. We go back in time and do Titan 5. But I love that gives me the opportunity again to amuse myself by telling the backstory of why we're in each of these places and who we're fighting and why, and the connection between all of those, which between Dread Fortress, Titan 6, and just Scum and Villainy, and what was the other one we did? Oh, Ravagers. So Scum and Villainy and Dread Fortress are connected, as are every operation leading up to those, in that they're all driven by the Dreadmaster storyline, which is interesting if you think about it. But yes, so that is that. But now why don't we talk about something new and interesting, which is all the stuff that we heard about on the Dread stream. Dread stream. The dev stream about the future.
Difficult to see. Always emotion is the future.
So yeah, we've got a big chunk of news that came out. They did a pretty nice job of walking through Galactic Command and dropping a couple knowledge bombs on us about, I think, gear and how it's going to work in the new expansion was sort of the biggest news that came out of this. So we'll walk through their whole little agenda. We'll do our little Mystery Science Theater commentary on the stream. I thought we should do that would be funny to do one time, is actually play the stream but then have us like overlaid like the shadow of us and like comment on it as they're doing it.
Yeah, I love that idea.
That would be great. But they went through their little agenda was mostly focused on, as they always do, a little bit of looking back. What they've done so far, wrapping up a little bit of their commentary on where the Dark versus Light event is at. Then they talked about the announcement of the Eternal Throne, dove into the Galactic Command ranks, command crates, and a little bit of how the Galactic Command interface is going to work and why you're going to want to do it. And then a little bit more on some of the promotions leading up to the expansion, like some of the bonus stuff that you're going to get. And they finished off with, then they talked about their stream and blog plans for more news. And then I pulled a screenshot of it, which is all you really need, because they did another of those teasers of something to come, and it's literally like 1.5 seconds. I don't know.
It's not a teaser. It's
a Zur. It's another one of their Zurs.
It's a Zur.
Which is they're tiny teasers. I don't know why they show you just that 2 seconds and think that's going to sate you in seeing the future.
So I have a comment to make about this. It's like I really like that they put their agenda up because it gives me a sense that there's, that they have some plan, and that makes me feel like, safe and warm and cuddly and everything. But they could put that up while they're having their comments with each other about what t-shirts they're wearing and stuff, and then just start. They don't have to go through each one and say what it's going to be, because then when it actually comes up as a topic, they do that again. They say what it's going to be about, and it's like, I
Yeah,
get
well,
it.
tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you're going to tell them again. Tell them what you're telling them, and tell them what you
And
told
then tell them
them.
what you told them. I know.
And then
I
tell
know.
them what you're going to tell them again.
And
And
I
then
agree
tell
with
them
that.
what t-shirt you're wearing.
But the first tell can be just it on the screen.
I think
That's all
that's
I'm
in
saying.
Strunken White Elements of Style. Tell them what t-shirt you're wearing, then tell them what you're going to tell them. And then tell them.
Yes, I think it is
And
too.
tell them.
But anyway,
So yeah, Dark versus Light, blah, blah, blah. We can skip over that because we talked about all this in the news anyway. Promotions, they only showed the art, but there'll be a walker mount that we get. So they mentioned this again. We all know this. You get Shea Vizsla, you get the Recon Walker, and you get early access.
yeah, Shea Vizsla as a companion, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited about in terms of those bonuses. I still continue to be excited about those, so great. They talked about the overview, which was 5 new levels. The starting token, you will get a token, and any old tokens do boost to level 65 because we're also getting, we're all going to level 70 now. Some changes to class abilities, good thing to look into. 2 new planets, which they teased a bit, but they did not announce. Although, as we saw, as they put on Twitter, there is...
Wait, before we leave the token,
Yeah?
they didn't say that if you have a level 60 token, it would work as a level 65 token. Did they, or they?
I think in the... yeah, I think they did. I think they did on the website in... Well, it's not explicit, but if you look at the web page for the new expansion... Where's the web page for the new expansion? You scroll all the way down to the web page for the new expansion. In the terms and conditions, it says something about if you have old tokens. There's something somewhere in that says that old tokens will still be redeemable as new tokens, something like that.
Okay, I think I thought I saw something like that too, but there's just
Yeah,
kind
here.
of information overload, and the details sometimes get mixed up.
Yeah, so here down in the terms and conditions, beginning November 29, 2016, players with unused advanced character tokens in inventory can use them to play Knights of the Eternal Throne, which I take as they become level 65 tokens. Because you couldn't use them to play Eternal Throne if they only got you to level 60. So.
Okay, I don't know about that, especially the way it's worded in other places where it says, yeah.
It's worded in some sort of legalese, like they like to word these things.
Well, okay.
We
We'll
won't
just say.
never not create group content. See if we don't.
Yes.
What did you say?
If you have a token, it may or may not turn to a level 65 token.
Yeah, that's how I read it as, but yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, tokens, 2 new planets. We saw in our chat stream here, someone posted the link on Twitter to Nathema concept art that they posted. So hint, that could be one of the planets, Nathema, right? And this is little concept art. I don't know what these little guys are. They look sort of like Masashi, but they're more hunched over. Masashi hunchbacks of some kind. And then we saw those. I think weren't those knights that Senya fights? Weren't those Nathema knights in their cool black leathery armor?
And they're kind of tall hats.
Then they had like the bishops inside.
Yeah, they look like bishops.
No one expects the Nathema Inquisition. But yeah, so they hinted around some stuff on the two planets, and they said one is brand new to the Star Wars extended universe and lore, and one is a planet you should already know from books and things like that. They mentioned Uprisings. So Uprisings is group content, sort of like Flashpoints, action oriented. They dropped some notes about that. And then they mentioned Galactic Command, which they dropped into in more detail, which we'll talk about in a second. And then they said all of the Knights of the Fallen Emperor and Knights of the Eternal Throne chapters will be repeatable with challenge levels. And this is basically a story mode, hard mode, and nightmare mode, but they call them something new now. Don't they call them story,
master and veteran, or veteran
yeah,
and master.
veteran and master, right? So I don't know why. I don't know why they invented new names, because hard mode and nightmare mode seem just as valid as veteran and master, but they did. And so what did you think of that?
I think they did it because now they can say something is of master difficulty, whether or not there's a hard mode version of it.
Okay.
If they, maybe
they could
with
have said it was hard
Uprising.
mode without there being a story mode version of it, or I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know
okay.
either.
So that's a thing. You'll be able. I heard them say either there or in one of the notes that it's, and this gets to one of the things you were talking about earlier in our guild chat about this, is you reset the chapter and then sort of play it again. So what does that do to our choices that matter?
Yeah, I don't know, because like say you've completed the whole thing, but then you decide you want to go back, because I might do something like this. I want to go back and play chapter 11 because I want to refresh my memory on something that happened there. But so that's going back quite a ways, or chapter 2, or even, and what if decisions, I think another thing that makes us feel like decisions don't really matter is that you've pointed out before is that we don't know which decisions make a difference. Like it comes out later, so we don't know at the time that it's going to make a difference, and we think it doesn't make a difference because we don't see it happen. But yeah, what if you blew up that sun generator in chapter 1?
Yeah. What if you did? So what if you go back and you blew it up before and now you don't blow it up this time? Does that decision then travel forward, and companions that may have gotten angry and left
Then out of shape.
now have not left, and it's going to sort of reset your decisions? I don't know. That would be interesting to see.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. It's also I did also hear them say that if you want to do the master level, that you can't do the master level until level 70. Is that what it was? There was a prerequisite to getting the masters unlocked. It's like you could do the regular modes and the veterans, but you can't go back and do it at master level until you finish all the chapters and hit level 70 or something like that. So there's some prerequisite associated with master level as well. There'll also be achievements associated with doing it at those different levels. So more incentive if you're looking for incentive to do it, or you just want to try it. And they've said a couple times in a couple of these discussions that it's intended to be difficult. So we'll see how difficult, but it's intended to be hard. So we'll see about that. I think having extra hard stuff for people that want it hard to do is interesting. I don't know. People like to say it's way too easy, and then but then if they're presented with a much more difficult mode, will they do it? I don't know.
I don't know. I think when we were talking about this over the weekend, in the guild, most people were saying that they are not that excited about playing the story over again. When it was, in the olden days, in the beginning, when it was the class story, and everyone was playing all 8 versions or all 8 class stories. Or all, yeah, 8. This is more like reading a book. So if you're not the kind of person who enjoys rereading a book, you may not enjoy replaying these chapters. So so then making them harder doesn't make them more attractive necessarily. But who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, people that are in it for the challenge and want the achievement, that might be a little bit of a driver. People that want to try different choices, that might be a little bit of a driver.
That
But
would drive me more, wanting to try different choices.
yeah, especially if it cascades through, that would be interesting to. I would consider doing that. I would consider being more cavalier about my choices if I knew I could go back and redo the choices.
Yeah. I mean, and it kind of depends for me too on KOTET, right? So it depends on how interesting the combat parts of it are in KOTET. Like in Knights of the Fallen Empire, the first 7 chapters, it's just streams of sky troopers. So the idea of sky troopers with more health that hit harder doesn't sound that compelling to me.
Right. Right. Although the thing that would potentially be different if it's sky troopers that hit harder is once things get hard enough, you do actually
That's
it
true.
becomes a puzzle. And I think people don't realize that is when it's 50 sky troopers who you're just going to AoE down, that's one thing. When it's a pack of 5 sky troopers and you need to CC and you need to have your companion tank and you need to be careful about using your interrupts, and it's you got to work out a strategy for each of your polls then in that mode. And I think I bet it's actually much more of a challenge. It's much more interesting going through that content if it is difficult, because you're going to have to look at each pack that you come up to. And yeah, maybe it's 50 sky troopers, but you're not just running through them all and AoEing them down.
I mean, it's a good point, and we've had this conversation before, but I agree with you, but I agree with me too.
Do you now?
We shall see.
And then, of course, they dove into and introduced the whole idea of Galactic Command. So this that I'm showing here is the interface for Galactic Command. And they talked about this. I don't know if you've ever played it. I don't think you have, Seema. There's a mobile game called Galaxy of Heroes, which is a Star Wars mobile game. That is currently in. It's still out there. You can play it. It's more like a little collecting, almost like Pet Battles type of game, but with little Star Wars heroes. The main UI though for it, when you go into that little mobile app, it looks a lot like this. Not exactly, but there's like all the little content things you can do within Galaxy of Heroes are sort of laid out in this way a little bit.
So they said that what they were trying to address with this was when we had a bunch of new players that got to level 65, then veteran players kind of knew that if you wanted to PvP, there's a terminal, and there's a terminal in the PvP section. You get the quest, and then you queue for it, and you go. And if you wanted to do ops, we knew where you would find that. But if you didn't know any of that stuff, it wasn't that easy to find it out. So they're trying to present this all in one like UI, so that you can sit there and say, okay, let's see. Next, I could do one of these 6 things, and then it becomes clearer.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. Is now I'm max level. What do I do? I'm always max level. And then there's also incentive to continue to do stuff. So that's the other piece of this that's relatively obvious. Up at the top here, you see your command rank. Your command rank starts at 1, and the more things you do, you get command points, and you go up in command levels. And at each rank, I think it's at each rank you get a reward box. Then you get a command crate, right?
When you change ranks, you get a command crate, right?
And then when you get to the very end, and they go into like a UI, like the cartel pack opening experience, they go into a UI like that. But when you get to the max level, and they don't know what the max level is yet, they said that's a little bit up in the air. So maybe it's 50, maybe it's 100, or whatever it is. But even after you hit the maximum level for your Galactic Command, you can continue to earn command rank points and open more boxes. The rewards that you're getting out of those command crates scale up with the higher your Galactic Command rank is, which is interesting. And a key thing to hear about, and the sort of one of the big bombs was these boxes, these command crates, are where end game gear comes from moving forward. That means you go into an operation and you kill a boss, no gear drops off of bosses anymore at level 70. Prior to level 70, lower level stuff, you run flashpoints, you want to get gear, that gear will still drop, but the end game gear will no longer drop. Cosmetic stuff still drops, the mounts and pets still drop, but all you get then off of bosses is Galactic Command points, and those boxes then contain a random chance at gear. So that's interesting. It's interesting in a couple different ways, and this is where we can, spend some time here throwing this back and forth. The higher your Galactic Command rank gets, the better the gear that can come out of those boxes is. So if you want the highest level gear in the game, you have to have the highest level Galactic Command rank. Okay, so there's incentive to be ranking up your Galactic Command rank. The way you rank up your Galactic Command rank is by doing things, right? All of these things. War zones, Galactic Starfighter operations. But now they said pretty clearly, doing especially operations, uprisings, and ranked PvP at the hardest modes, so master operations, ranked PvP, and master level uprisings is where you're going to get the most points at a time. So casual players can still get Galactic Command points just by doing like dailies and heroics, but you're not going to get them as fast as people running group content, 16-man group content at master level or nightmare. So what do you think of that, Seema?
Well, I like some aspects of it. Like I like the fact that other types of activities, like if I feel like today I just want to do weekly heroics, I'm also going to accomplish some progress towards my goal of having X amount of Galactic Command points, whatever they're going to be called. Yes, so I like that aspect of it. I'm not too concerned about the speed of achieving it because, I'm just not that isn't that motivational to me. But I can see where somebody who's a more hardcore player would feel pressure to play things that they don't normally play, like if they're basically log into raid and that's their thing, now they're going to feel like they have to do flashpoints and uprisings and do chapters over and over again, and heroics and war zones and even Starfighter. Hopefully they won't feel that way because they'll be getting enough points to feel like they're making a good progress. But MMO players are MMO players.
So if people are racing to maximum Galactic Command level, then yes, they may feel that because there's going to be, I don't know if it's daily or changes every day or how it's going to work, but they said they're going to have like bonus Galactic Command points that are going to rotate through these, right?
Right.
So
daily,
yeah,
they said.
Is it daily? So one day it's going to be bonus to war zones, the next day it's going to be bonus to Starfighter. So yeah, people that are trying to get to maximum rank as quickly as possible, yeah, they may feel like they're being directed to do that. However, if you're patient, all you really need to be doing is doing what you do, right? So if you're a PvPer,
doing what you like to do.
and you're doing ranked PvP, you're going to get tons of Galactic Command points for doing ranked PvP. You can just stay doing ranked PvP. You're going to get all the rewards and bonuses that you need out of Galactic Command.
Then the other thing is I think people are very concerned about the RNG aspect of it.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so let's say that 50 is the highest level. It makes you kind of think like, I need to get all my gear out of 50 crates. And people feel that RNG is not going to treat them necessarily wildly well, and that they might get, bracers and boots out of every crate, every
Which I
other
will.
crate.
Yes.
Right. And yes, you can destroy the items. I forget the word. Disintegrate the items.
Yeah.
But that just gives you another part of another chance towards another RNG. And if you're only gonna get belts to begin with, then that's not very exciting. And the fact that that there is going to be a max level, I don't understand that at all. If you continue to get points and get boxes, I don't understand what the max level even serves.
Yes. So
like, when do you get a box after you've maxed level if you only get boxes when you change levels? When do you actually get, I guess...
So whatever, so there'll be some number of points then that you have to keep achieving.
Right.
But that was sort of another side brainstorm of mine was I would like the idea of why not just have the Galactic Command rank continue to go up. If my Galactic Command rank kept going up and I was up to 1,000 or whatever, just that little bit of mental progression over time,
yeah.
even if I'm not trying to force it, would be sort of fun. It'd be something to watch a counter tick up. I
agree.
I always liked collecting the commendations, and I liked when it was basically unlimited for the comms and the crystals. Crystals were never unlimited, but some of the comms were relatively unlimited, and Warzone comms, for example, are still sort of unlimited. I like just hoarding and having bigger and bigger numbers. I hoard with credits. So like hoarding ranks and seeing that rank tick up over time. Then if it sticks around and we're gonna have to wait 18 months for the whatever new thing that's gonna come after Galactic Command to happen, I'll still be grinding ranks, and I can sort of show it off.
So the other thing they said too about this RNG business is it's only going to be for your advanced class, not your discipline. So you could be waiting again and again and again and again for that last piece, and it finally drops, and it's the tank version of that piece, and you're a DPS, or it's a DPS version and you're a healer. And
that is a little bit of a challenge.
Since it's the set bonus version of these items, unless they make the set bonuses the same for your whole advanced class, that is going to make a difference.
Which they can't, because that would defeat the purpose of having tank gear, and if your rail shot becomes stronger, that I don't know. I couldn't imagine set bonuses that would be very interesting at all if it was shared between tank and DPS classes, for example. So that also makes that whole RNG thing sound a little janky. So we'll have to see how that goes. There is, and Eric confirmed in this update post that it's random and it's determined by advanced class. The item level is determined by your command rank, but the item type is determined just by your advanced class, not by your discipline, not by your spec. But you can always do that disintegrate thing, and if you disintegrate it, then you basically get refunded bonus Galactic Command points that will get you to your next crate faster. Okay.
Which will get you to the end faster.
Or you say you're at at the top is 50 and you're at 50. It'll get you even then. You open you're still waiting for bracers. You haven't gotten bracers or your hat, and you open another crate, and dang, it's the healer version again, and I need the DPS version. I'll disintegrate it, I'll do another operation, and then I'll get another crate. Because,
Well,
you
yeah.
know,
I mean, another thing they said is these crates have nothing to do with the cartel market, but if these crates have mounts and pets in them, what mounts and pets would be in them?
I don't know. They haven't decided all of what's going to go in those crates. They know the gear is going to go in, so that's one thing. But
Right, but it's
they
not gonna
said
be
potentially other
drops.
stuff.
It's not going to be drops from bosses. If it's not related to the cartel market at all, I mean, that doesn't leave a lot
I think that
of
cartel market
sources.
comment was more the stuff that the gear that drops in these boxes will not show up on the cartel market, and they wanted it to sort of make that clear. They're
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
it's sort of the other way. There is no
But we
cartel
already know
market
that because cartel market doesn't have, gear with
token
stats.
gear.
Yeah.
But there won't be like a cartel market way to get the same stuff. You have to play the game. They did say, though, that you have to be subscribed to be gaining command points and ranking up your galactic command. I think that's another controversial topic. I'm always subscribed, so sometimes I sort of gloss over that kind of thing. But we play with other guildies that are not. The challenge there will be they won't be able to get the set bonus gear, and they won't be able to sort of participate in this sort of core element of the end game if they're not subscribed. Which that's a big gap, I think, in the preferred, sort of the free to play model. Now,
Well, like DP Roberts just said in chat, you can't buy your way to best gear, but isn't that what you're doing when you subscribe?
yeah, I heard you say that earlier in the week that that's sort of pay to win.
Well,
But
I'm
I don't
asking the
count
question.
I don't count subscribing as pay to win. I count if I could, throw dollars at the cartel market any random day and buy myself a piece of gear. I count that as pay to win. Pay extra beyond subscription.
Beyond the cost of the game, yeah.
Yeah, but
But until this point, subscribing has never given you a gear advantage.
right. Now the only gear advantage that you get is the set bonus, though. They
The
did
set
make it
bonus,
clear
right.
that there will be crafted versions of this gear available, just without the set bonuses that are equivalent to the end game levels. Now, I wonder if they're going to have a new the elite crafting material, the new exotic isotope stabilizer.
Yeah.
And I wonder if those will come out of command crates, because otherwise, where are you going to get those? Unless
Right.
those still drop off of bosses, I bet those are going to come out of command crates, which means, again, only people that are subscribers are going to get those things. And if you're not a subscriber and you're trying to just get gear, although why are you trying to? Well,
Yeah,
still want the gear.
it's a circle.
It is, and I like playing with all my guildies that are preferred and not subscribed, and I like them having gear. So when when we play
Right.
ops content and things like that they've got gear that they can use to play with us. That's gonna be a challenge for all of us if there's no way for them to really get that end game gear in any reasonable way. So we'll see
Which-
what the prices are. We'll see what the crafted stuff looks like. And
It
that kind
brings
of
up
thing.
another point too. Is like if you have that friend or that guildie that you're trying to bring along, or a new person to your team, or whatever is going on, how do you help them gear up? Like, say your whole team is already geared up, but you're bringing on a new tank.
Yeah, we had a little bit of discussion about this amongst our guildies tonight. The one side, someone was saying it
That
will
was
be
fun.
nice. It was JJ who was saying
Yeah,
people
yeah,
people, if you're still just casual and subscribed, you'll be able to just play, and you'll be gaining command crates by just playing solo, by doing dailies, by, you know, putting a flashpoint here and there, and do a little Galactic Starfighter on your own, doing the chapters, replaying chapters. You'll get gear. You'll be ranking up your Galactic Command rank, and you'll be getting endgame gear just by doing that. It'll be slow, but you'll still get it. So okay, so that's an upside. It will be difficult though to do. There will be no fast catch up though, for someone who comes in late and has no Galactic Command rank, and hasn't been subscribed for a while. Comes to the game, says, "Oh yeah, let me jump in and come play with you guys." Although, I think story mode content in operations will still be bolstered. Maybe it won't matter. You just can only do story mode for a while. There just won't be a fast catch up for them.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yes. Yes, you had my attention. Now you have my interest.
Well, I have to say that when
Well
DVL
played,
was first announced, I was not excited about it, and it has turned out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm still plowing through. I'm still going for legendary. We still got time, TikTok, but yeah. Here's a picture of the command rank and the command crates. I did hear it tossed around. I don't know if it got confirmed, but somebody said it sounded like Tier 1 command. Now see, it says here Tier 1 command lockbox. Somebody said the gear that comes out of the lockbox is equivalent to your command rank. See, I don't think that's true just by looking at this picture. Like, you could save up all the lockboxes and not open them until you were at rank 50 on your Galactic Command, and then get all rank 50 gear out of the Galactic Command. I don't know if that's the case now that I look at this, because look, it says it's a Tier 1 command lockbox, and your command rank is Tier 2.
Yeah. Yeah, hoarding may not be an option.
Which is even more potential for frustration if I can't even start collecting my 224 gear until my Galactic Command rank is 50, and then I start the RNG game to get my full set of 224.
Right.
Yikes. Huh. So it's not, 50 boxes to get your gear set. It's you get 50 boxes, and then you need to start grinding 50 more boxes to get, because I'm going to get 50 sets of bracers. That's something to investigate. What else did they say about Galactic Command? Anything else that comes to mind? So you got to be subscriber. It is nice that you can do anything. They did make it clear, though, that doing the hardest things and doing like group content, doing ranked PvP is where you'll get the most points. I wonder how much it will be, and those differences in points will be. That'll be interesting to see.
I think it's going to make a big difference how long it takes you to get between ranks, from rank to rank with the command crates.
Yeah, that's a good question. So say I'm at maximum level, I'm still missing a couple pieces of gear. How many operations will I need to do? How many hard mode ops do I need to do to get my next crate? If it's more than 2, it's going to be a little frustrating for me. But I guess if you figure right now, if I'm waiting for, I don't have full 224, and we do the featured hard modes every week. So maybe 2 isn't the right number. Maybe it's,
It might make it more grindy for us too, because right now we have no problem saying let's go beat our head against XYZ, hard for us boss this week. Whereas with this system now, we might want to say, well, let's do something we can finish.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, although that can get really boring. Is everybody then going to sort of, are you going to have teams, say you're on a team and your team is really going for Galactic Command points, and then so they say, nope, we're running Karagas every week because it's the fastest and we can get the most points the fastest. So for the next 8 weeks, we're doing nothing but running Karagas on, on Wednesday night.
No.
That might be soul crushing. So lots of questions, lots of answers, but lots of questions. It's interesting times. It's certainly an interesting approach. One other thing which we didn't mention is expertise on PvP gear goes away, and it's all just one set of gear. There will be a Valor rank barrier to getting into ranked PvP, but they're getting rid of expertise, and all of the gear will just be all of the gear, and you can just go into regular PvP and PvP with your gear. There's a little bit of discussion, and there's some good questions around that. That's again another little bit of a philosophy change, and has the opportunity to have unintended consequences, like people saying, hey, I'm a ranked PvPer, and now am I going to sort of be forced to go do PvE to rank up my Galactic command quick enough? Or are you going to have PvE players that can, just do PvE and then bring in their, into regular, regular war zones and stomp everybody else because they have the best gear?
I think players who do ranked PvP are in the best position of anybody because that's what they like to do, and that's the highest GC earning, tier.
Yeah. And there was, Eric actually responded to some of those kinds of questions about the Warzone gear in particular. And he had, which I think he had all the right points here, which are, yeah, you're going to have higher stats, but in war zones, that stat difference and the difference between 220 and 224 in a war zone is much smaller difference than the difference between somebody who knows what they're doing and somebody who doesn't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Skill is a big factor in war zones and will continue to be, and I believe it. So we shall see. That Eric seems active on the forums in this. They're doing another blog, a dev stream on Thursday. They've got a whole list of, I think I even have here some of future topics where they're going to have some blog posts coming up. So next stream is going to be this Thursday. Then they're going to have blog posts on the October 27th. Devs, these are all dev streams, aren't they? October 27th, they're going to do uprisings. November 3rd, they're going to do the class and combat changes in detail. The 10th, they're going to do repeatable chapters and difficulty levels and what all that means. The 17th, they're going to unveil the new planets and have a little story time with Charles Boyd. And then the 24th, they're going to have sort of the whole wrap up and Q&A and preview. That's sort of going to be the last talk before the launch.
It's interesting to me that there's none of those topics say the new gearing system. So I guess what we had already was their deep dive into the new gearing.
And they had a bunch of Q&A in the forums on the new gear. So yeah, we'll see if.
But there's.
It seems like nothing's
still
totally
gaps,
set in stone. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
They could tweak things still. We'll see. We do know there's definitely things that aren't set in stone, like what the maximum rank on Galactic Command is. They've said we haven't decided that yet. So of these other things, continue to give them feedback in the forums, and if there's something that the community feels strongly enough about, they may make some changes in the next month and change some of this strategy. Overall, Seema, why don't we sum it up with your general feelings and how salty you are about all of them moving your cheese?
My feeling is that the goal of doing this is to reward people, reward people for doing all aspects of the game and for people to feel rewarded when they're playing the game and to make it fun for everyone to play different aspects of the game, or to reward you for playing the game the way you want to play it. That's what I want to say. They want to reward you for playing the game the way you want to play it. And I think they tried to do that with Conquest. Didn't really work out that way. And I think this is their second sort of attempt at that, and it's more comprehensive. And I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic it may work out that way.
I agree, and that sort of sums it up with my view too. I like the idea of an end game system, right? So you get to end game, and it's not. I think they had to step away from one end game system. Could be they release new ops all the time, but then they would also have to release new war zones, and they would also have to release new. Which still everybody wants all of that stuff too, and they'll be talking about that stuff in January. But this is still a system, at least, that even with whatever they do release, it's just a little bit of an incentive to continue to grind that stuff out and play and see progression, even if you're just getting together casually and doing, mandatory fun nights with your guilds on Tuesday. You'll get little ticks in your Galactic Command. You'll get little, Galactic Command boxes over time. It'll be a little bit of a reason to do anything and everything. So yeah, I like that too. I think we've already touched on what some of the pitfalls of this new system might be. Some of those might be much more painful than we expect. I'm open to seeing how painful it is, and I'll cry about it as I learn more. I'm reserving my right to rage quit until I feel how painful it is.
I am looking forward to seeing what uprisings actually are, because I mean, they tried something different with Star Fortresses, and they tweaked that idea and tried it again with Eternal EC. And I mean, they're continuing to put their twist on stuff, so maybe it'll be fantastic. Well, I don't know.
We shall see. And then their little final tidbit was 2 seconds of it. I think this is gameplay out of something. I don't know if it's out of a chapter or what, but you mount up in a Imperial Walker, you get some abilities down there in the bottom, and they showed just like 2 seconds. Again, it wasn't a, what are we calling it? It wasn't a preview, or it wasn't a teaser. It was a Zur.
It's a Zur.
But it looked pretty cool. It reminded me of the second fight in Temple of Sacrifice, except you're driving the Imperial Walker.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I'm up for that. I'll have fun driving.
Oh my God, I would love
things.
Some kind of scenario where we could play as a boss in a raid fight.
That's an old dream of mine. I'll be the boss in an operation, and the rest of the guild fights me.
But they did say when they were talking about the HK55 chapter, where we played as HK55, that they developed some new tech for that, and and at the time I thought, well, it's got to show up again, and here it is. Maybe
that's it. All right, with that, I think we are ready to wrap up. We will talk more in the following weeks about all the new news that'll be coming out. It seems like we'll have a steady stream of content to be chatting about, so we will do that. But our 165 droid here is ready to head out with this episode. So thanks to all of you for joining us on newoverlords.com, on iTunes, subscribing on YouTube, or following us on Twitch. We will stream again next Tuesday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central. Please follow us on Twitter @MaxTheGray and @AIESEMA. Please subscribe on YouTube. And certainly come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. That's the #1 reason we do the podcast. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.